Hello everyone. So welcome to the next session in our Modern Indian History course, and today we'll continue our journey towards the civil disobedience movement. If you remember, in the last session we talked about the Simon Commission, the entry of the Simon Commission. We talked about the Indian response to it, and then we talked about the road to the Purna Swaraj. And we didn't talk about Purna Swaraj per se, but we talked about the Nehru report and the reactions and how the non-Muslim League is going on a divergent path from the Congress on the mainstream political movement. So in that context, let us talk about today's session summary. Right, let's get down to it. Okay, so what we are going to discuss today is very easy. So, right, the Nehru report is finally being prepared. Now it will have to be what? It will have to be accepted by the Congress. We'll see it being accepted. Obviously, we have seen that there was some pressure from the youngsters or the young nationalists within the Congress party to do something else, as in, don't demand this dominion status, demand the independent status. That's what we want. We don't want this dominion status per se. So they youngsters talked about some compromises. We will see later on that will be made. Then after that Nehru report is being finalized, what will then happen? Then they will give some ultimatum ki bhai, now we have finalized and now you just fulfill whatever we have done. Now you fulfill your promise, Mr. Birkenhead. Then what happens? There were some changes happen. Birkenhead is now gone. Then obviously they will not accept that ultimatum, and they will say ki bhai, these are our demand. If you don't meet them, we'll go for the civil disobedience movement. Then in the session we'll see back and forth. For example, they'll put some demand to the Britishers one time says no. They'll say okay, we are going for Purna Swaraj resolution. Then they'll go for Purna Swaraj resolution. On the other hand, the British will be trying to keep them on the negotiating table. They will organize the round table conferences. Round table conferences we'll look at in the next session. So three round table conferences will happen. What is mean round table conferences? Round table. So basically people sitting like this and discussing things. That's all. Okay, discussion forum, that is the round table conferences. With this thought, let us start today's session. Chalo. It's a good session. Timelines of both the session, this session and the next session, I'll give you in the 41st session. The reason is why first let us discuss thing, then the timeline in the next session. I previously have also done it. That it gives us an opportunity to revise the same thing through event by event, to catching up the event through chronology. Let us start from here. Now, if you remember, the Nehru report is being formed December 1928, Calcutta session of the Congress. It will be approved now. But yes, as the younger member are now very having some independent and very radical and a critical thought. What was the argument of the old people? That to keep the dominion status. The argument was very easy. The argument was that it has taken many years to identify that consensus, to come to that consensus, to come to consensus on what? To come to consensus on the dominion status. It took a lots and lots of the years, and now we have made this progress. Let's not derail the progress. Now let's keep at least achieve dominion status. And the young people will say no, 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 the time of the dominion status is gone. See the Britishers, they are promising so many things, then they are doing nothing. Once they are promised in 1917, then they will give the responsible government. And now let us see the Simon Commission, whose report will be released later on. But they will say that the Simon Commission, they are not looking to give any responsible government. Now the old people have said that we'll give you 2 years ultimatum to the Britishers. Young people again say no, 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 not this 2 years. Give them just ultimatum of 1 year. And if they don't accept it 1 year, we will go for the complete independence and we will launch a civil disobedience. So this much demand of the young nationalists were kept, mainly one young nationalist, Nehru and Bose. Their demand was kept. First, reducing that year, okay, fine, dominion status within 1 year, then that's fine. Otherwise, we will launch the civil disobedience movement and we'll go for the full independence. For that activity of the political action, political work increased. Gandhiji himself involved in a lot of political work, made a lot of tours all over the country. again doing the constructive work and again raising the masses, their political awareness and all these things. Congress Working Committee organized a foreign cloth boycott committee. So all these actions started which require for the mass movement. Meerut conspiracy case also happened. A separate issue. We'll discuss it later. Bomb in the Central Legislative Assembly thrown by Bhagat Singh and comrades. So that also happened parallelly. That is happening. Now there was a change in guard in the England. We have discussed why this Simon Commission has come, because there was an expectation that in 1929 election, that is in Britain, there will be a change in guard, and there was a change in guard. But the change in guard happened. The Ramsay MacDonald got a minority government, hung parliament, and that parliament survived only for 2 years until 1931 only. The parliament survived till then only. Chalo. Now the Irwin made a declaration. Now the British also started to feel, yaar, ki this is what we have done wrong. We have in 1970 talked about giving them responsible government, and we have not given them any responsible government. This is why these people are threatening to go for the civil disobedience movement. Plus, now the Simon Commission report is going to come. We want a new act to reform 1919 Act. We should put these Indians into some sort of a negotiating table so that they don't bring out this again mass movement like the non-cooperation movement. So the Britishers also will take up some conciliatory position. The main purpose of this declaration was restore faith in the ultimate purpose of the British policy. Ultimate purpose kya tha? That was seen in the statement, Montagu statement of 1970. And the Irwin says that we will try to go for attainment of the dominion status, natural issue of India's constitutional progress, and all these things. That we are going to do that. So this was Irwin's declaration, and with that declaration he said, okay, let us, after Simon Commission submits its report, what we do, we will organize these round table conferences. So one conference will happen in 1930, September to December 1930. Then one conference will happen in 1931, and the one conference will happen in 1932. We'll discuss detailed timelines. So the first roundtable conference is going to happen in 1930. Okay, fine. Will the Congress participate in not? That's a question, because Congress has given some of the demands in the Nehru report. If you don't meet that demand, then we'll going for civil disobedience movement. Now, Mr. Irwin has announced what? Mr. Irwin has said that, okay, we will give you, but you have to participate in the RTC. Okay, now that's again a dilemma. Okay. Now the Congress comes up with the Delhi Manifesto. They come up with the Delhi Manifesto, that is November 2, 1929. They come up with the Delhi Manifesto and they talk about certain conditions. Certain conditions, if these conditions are fulfilled, then and only then we will attain this round table conference. They talk about three conditions. Purpose of the round table conference should not be to discuss whether the dominion status should be given or not. This should not be the talk of the roundtable conference. The talk of the roundtable conference is to discuss the methods through which the dominion status to be given, and accept first of all immediately that dominion status needs to be given. Now talk about the constituent assembly. कि भाई कैसे election होगा, how many people will be there, and how this, in which timeline you will discuss. So Congress was very clear with their objective, that what should be the purpose of the roundtable conferences. Again we'll meet, again we'll discuss, no dominion status, again this, no. Declare immediately that dominion status will be given and how this will be taken up. Then second, Congress will have the majority representation at the conference. This is very important, so that the sectional agenda or communal agenda or very partition, some different agenda does not take the center stage. So that the Congress, which believes that we are the party of the nation, we provide an all India platform, we should be the voice of the people, of the Indians. And there should be general amnesty for the political prisoners and the policy of reconciliation from the side of the Britishers. For example, at this time, Bhagat Singh and all these people are in the jail. Now they are saying that these political prisoners should be kept out of the jail and the policy of reconciliation should be considered by the Britishers. Okay, fine. So Gandhi, along with Motilal Nehru and other political leaders, met Lord Irwin. You know? So they asked Erwin for assurance that the purpose of the roundtable conference was to draft a constitutional scheme, but this was not the purpose. Erwin ne bola. Erwin said, no, 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 this is not the purpose. So Erwin, in a way, rejected the Delhi Manifesto. So it was rejected by the Erwin. Irwin said, no, 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 this is not the purpose of your Delhi Manifesto. Manifesto का purpose तो कुछ और है. This is not the purpose of Delhi Manifesto. What your people are saying. And hence, obviously, the confrontation is to begin now. That leads to the confrontation. Then comes the Purna Swaraj resolution or the Lahore Congress. The Congress session happens at Lahore, and one can see the change of guard happening in the Congress. In 1928 session, who was the president? Motilal Nehru. In 1929, his son was the president, that is Jawaharlal Nehru. So the baton has been passed from the old generation to the new generation, from dominion status to the independent status, from non-cooperation to civil disobedience. Right now, we want complete independence and no dominion status. So Jawaharlal Nehru was given because the we are not demanding the complete independence, and he was representing the youth, as we have discussed, whether it is within the Congress, whether it is the aspirations of the leaders, the laborers, the peasants. The Jawaharlal Nehru was representing it. It was no longer there for the Congress to not look at this young section of the people. And Gandhi also had the backing of the Nehru. 15 out of the 18 provincial Congress committee had opposed Nehru. Again, very controversial, right? But Gandhi had the backing of the Nehru. No, go ahead and give Nehru the presidentship. Then major decisions which were taken at the Lahore session. First, that we have to boycott the round table conference. And parallelly in England, the round table conference is going on. First round table conference. Parallelly in England, right? So India, civil disobedience will be launched, and parallelly in England, the round table conference is being discussed. Then they talk about that aim of the Congress will be independence only, no dominion status, nothing. The Congress Working Committee will authorize to launch the civil disobedience movement. Okay? Then including the non-payment of the taxes. Then on January 16th, January 26th, 1930 will be our first Independence Day. So when we will celebrate our first Independence Day, that is January 26, 1930. And that is why when on, everybody knows, right? 15th August, we got the independence. We kept 26 January 1930 as the date for our Republic Day. So as to commemorate this particular day. That happened in 1930. So historical legacy can be seen in our Republic Day. So in December 31, 1939, at the midnight of the banks of the river Ravi, the newly adopted tricolor of freedom was hosted by Jawaharlal Nehru amidst the slogan of Inqilab Zindabad. Imagine what kind of feeling would have been there, isn't it? Chalo. Now it has been decided that we will go for the civil disobedience movement, right? Lahore resolution. And with the spirit of the Lahore resolution, Gandhi ji presented, still Gandhi ji said, ki ultimatum denge, we will give them the ultimatum. We want 11 demands to be fulfilled. Give ultimatum of 31st January 1930, give them 1 month and to accept and reject this demand. So Gandhi ji will present his 11 demands. These demands are not that much important because those demands are important which are being met later on. So for example, Gandhi ji's demand can be divided into 3 parts. First, the general demand. Second, the bourgeois demand, that is related to more to the capitalists. And there are some demands for the peasants. Very general demands, for example, total prohibition, reduce army and civil expenditure, reforms in the CID, change Arms Act, release political prisoner, accept postal reservation bill, not very important. Reduce pound to sterling ratio, rupee to pound sterling exchange ratio, introduce textile protection, reserve coastal shipping for Indians, peasant, reduce land revenue, abolish salt tax and salt monopoly. So these are the 11 demand Gandhiji has given, and obviously they will be rejected by the viceroy. There was no positive response from the forthcoming from the government. It was not looking that the government is going to come up with any response to it. So Congress Working Committee invested Gandhi with the full power to launch the civil disobedience at the time and the place of his choice. Now it was upon the Gandhiji to launch the civil disobedience movement. And Gandhiji decided that we will take salt as the central formula of the movement, and we'll start the movement, and the launch of the movement will be done at the Gandhi March. Now, question is why salt is chosen. Very simple idea. The tax is there on the salt. So first of all, Gandhi believed that salt everyone uses, right? Millions of the people, poor, rich, everyone. So it is the most inhuman poll tax which is there. Salt is like a flesh link to the idea of the Swaraj, right? With the more concrete and universal grievance of the rural poor. Salt afford a very small but psychologically important income like khadi for the poor through self-help if they can make the salt. So it was more of a symbolic gesture, है ना? And it was a gesture which symbolizes the mass suffering. So Gandhi ji taken salt as a symbol so as to symbolize his struggle and symbolize the suffering of the masses which is being felt by the because of the British Raj. So Gandhiji started from his Sabarmati ashram and ended his march at the Dandi. When he started alone, and a lot of people started to follow him. Huge international media limelight has come, and that has embarrassed Britain like anything. A lot of reporters from USA and from other countries have come, have reported about this Gandhi march, what Gandhi is doing. So on March 2, 1930, Gandhi informed the viceroy of his action. According to this plan, Gandhiji, along with a band of 72 members of the Sabarmati ashram, was to march from the headquarters to village of the Gujarat. On reaching the coast of the Gandhi, salt law is to be violated. So Gandhiji jayenge and he will create salt from the ocean. Chal. With the historic march launched the civil disobedience movement. So Gandhi Dandi march, with the Dandi march, civil disobedience movement was finally launched. Began on March 12, Gandhiji broke the salt law by picking up a lump of salt on Gandhi on April 6. So from March 12 to April 6, he kept on marching towards the from Sabarmati to Dandi. Okay? These things are relatively small, simple to understand. That's why we are going through a bit quickly. The tough portion will come after the 1939. The last decade is relatively tough. These things remain more in consciousness. Through questions also we can discuss it again. So he demanded, Gandhiji demanded in the civil disobedience, ki bhai, non-cooperation, leave all these things. So in Gujarat, more than 300 village officials resigned in the response to the Gandhi's appeal. Okay. Then Gandhiji, then when he was done with his Dandi march, what happened? Gandhiji, acha, earlier the British thought that, okay, Gandhiji is going for this Dandi march. Why did not do anything? Think about it. Why the Britishers have not thought about that it will make a Gandhiji will be able to do anything. They thought about it that Gandhiji kya karenge? He's just running from one place to the other. But they did not expect that this much media attention it will gather. This was not expected by them. Totally unexpected. So Gandhiji again decided, okay, that he will raid on the salt, the Harsana salt works. But he was arrested on May 1930. When he was arrested, then the Congress Working Committee said that do these things. Non-payment of the revenue in the Rayatwari area, no Chowkidara tax in the Zamindari area, and violation of the forest law in the central province. So CWC said, go ahead and do it. And now you can see very actively they are saying no payments of taxes, no following of the unjust laws. Understood? And this is how the movement got spread when the CWC has given these directions. Now, obviously, the effect of the civil disobedience movement can be seen in multiple places. For example, in the UP province, the United Province of that time, no revenue campaigns. In Manipur, Nagaland, Rani Gaidinlu was there. In Odisha, Gopal Bandhu Chaudhary was there. In Rajaji, in Tamil Nadu, K. Kalappan, in Kerala, Dharsana, Sarojini Naidu, very important personality, that is Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan in the NWFP. He is also Bharat Ratna coming from Pakistan. He is also known as the Badshah Khan, Frontier Gandhi. His organization name was Red Shirt and the Khudai Khidmatgar. His organization name was Red Shirt and Khudai Khidmatgar. So this was the spread of the salt law disobedience. More you can read in your textbook, जो आपकी spectrum book है, in which they have detailed about the different areas. You can go ahead and read it. There is no point of pasting it there and just reading it from the book, right? So go ahead and just read it once. If you find any relevant information, to take it and write in your notes. Otherwise, any relevant information which will come in the form of the question, obviously that I will discuss. Then the extent of the mass movement, mass participation of the people. Yes, there was a huge participation of the women. Obviously, Dharsana, for example, you have seen Sarojini Naidu and her participation. Then student, they boycotted everything. Muslim participation was not as much as the non-cooperation movement, right? So Muslim post participation was less. Why? Because we have already seen because of Jinnah and 14 point and divergence of the path. Then the merchants and the petty traders, they also liked the idea of the boycott, and also the capitalists were also gaining some grounds, so that is why they also liked it. The tribal people, central province, Maharashtra, Karnataka, also there was a lot of defiance of this forest law. We have seen Rampa rebellion, for example, where the people, these tribals, do not like what is happening to them, है ना? Then workers, Bombay, Calcutta, Madras, Sholapur, peasants of UP, Bihar, and Gujarat. So all these participation has happened. Now, what with respect to government? Now the government is thinking that what should we do? Government is perplexed whether we should go for use of force, or whether we should take, if they take the force route, then the Congress will say they are repressing us and the global media is watching. On the other hand, if they do nothing, if they do little, then the Congress will say, see, this is our victory. We have defeated the Congress. We have defeated the government. And that is one of the reasons of the why the significance of the non-violence. When there is non-violence, when there is a violence, example, when there is a violence from my side, then it gives a justification to the other government, justification to the British government in this case, that okay, go ahead and do whatever you want, because that gives a moral high ground to them. Violence can be replied only with the violence. But when you perform non-violent satyagrahas like this, then you don't have any choice. The British will have the choice between the force and like this, you know? So if they do force, they'll call repression. If they do little action, the Congress will call victory. Overall, it was an erosion of the power from the side of the British. Then later on, obviously, when they look at it, they are not able to do anything. Then they'll look for the truce. The civil disobedience at its height, and they will look for the truce. And then for the truce again, Nehru and Gandhi will unequally reiterate the demands कि भाई ये हमें चाहिए, that we want right to secession from the Britain, complete national government and these things. And obviously the Irwin will say no no no, ये तो कुछ ज़्यादा ही demand है, it is too much. Later on they'll come to a concession. They will be arrested, and later on they were arrested, and later on January 25th 1931, right, Gandhi and other members of CWC were released unconditionally. CWC authorized Gandhi to initiate discussion with the viceroys, and as a result, this discussion, the pact was signed. Now you can see these people were put into jail. Government, in a way, after this thing, though there was a though there was this dilemma, but finally government went into this direction. Obviously, they went into the direction of using the force. They put all the leaders into jail, and later on, they have themselves put them out of the jail so that we can do some truce. Congress also realized that okay, let's go for the pact. You can sense that was it a retreat? We'll discuss that. Was it a retreat from the civil disobedience movement? हम देखेंगे. So this pact which is Gandhi has done with the Irwin, the Gandhi-Irwin pact, the pact which has happened, Gandhi-Irwin pact. So this pact is placed Congress at an equal footing with the government. Very significance of this pact. This is also known as the Delhi Pact. So Gandhi and the Irwin have signed a pact. So what the pact will be signed, the Irwin will accept some of the demands of the Gandhi ji, and the Gandhi ji will accept some of the demands of the Lord Irwin. So this pact will be signed. So first, Irwin on the behalf of the government will accept something. First, immediately release all the political prisoners who are not convicted of violence. Remember, not convicted of the violence. Remission of all the fines which are not yet collected. For example, they have increased the rent somewhere. If the people have paid, then that's fine. But if people have not paid, okay, fine, leave it. Return all the land which have been sold or which have been captured. Lenient treatment to the government servants who have been resigned. Right to make the salt, very important, in the coastal village for personal consumption, not for sale. Right to peaceful and non-aggressive picketing. Withdrawal of the emergency ordinances that are there with the governor. Then Viceroy turned down two of the demands. First, the public inquiry into the police excesses. Obviously, they won't do it. And very significant, the people demanded, or the Congress demanded, that the death penalty which is given to the Bhagat Singh Rajguru and his comrades should be commuted. But Viceroy did not agree to it. Now, there comes the point of the contention. A lot of people argue that Gandhi should have pushed for it. If Gandhi should have pushed for it, then Irwin would have said yes, because Irwin was desperate at this time. Also, you'll ask me why Irwin is desperate. Irwin is desperate because your first RTC has failed, first roundtable conference. Now the British have also realized that to make it happen, to make RTC happen, a roundtable conference, we require the support of the Congress. Without the support of the Congress, the RTCs cannot happen, right? So Gandhi ji, on behalf of the Congress, agreed to suspend the civil disobedience movement. Okay, we'll suspend the civil disobedience movement, and yes, we'll participate in the roundtable conference. Obviously, he'll have his own conditions. For example, on the three linchpins of federation, Indian responsibility, and reservation, and the safeguards. अरे बोलने में तो क्या जाता है ना, right? If it, he has said, and Irwin तो what very desperate, but he heard the name. Okay, fine, civil disobedience and a roundtable conference. Then whatever you want to say, what are the linchpins and whatever, I'll accept it. But first finish this civil disobedience, and secondly do attend the second roundtable conference. Now comes, it begs the question, was it a retreat? क्या ये retreat है? Because already CDM was going on, then the talks started to happen. They should have talked the same arguments for the Swadeshi movement, right? That mass movements are necessarily short-lived. The capacity to sacrifice is less. The momentum was declining. Signs of exhaustions were there. So it was a very strategic move by the Gandhiji to get to this point. Okay, let us talk and let us discuss about this roundtable conference. So with this we finish today's session. Now we are hung, है ना, वो कभी कभी मूवी में होता है that we leave the situation at the edge. Now what will happen after the Gandhi Irwin talk? Whether they'll participate in the RTC, what will happen in the RTC, कहते हैं ना, see us, we will see in the next session. But with this we finish today's session. We have a few questions, previous year questions lined up, around 5 to 6 previous year questions, very easy questions. Let's finish them. 1995 question. In 1930, Mahatma Gandhi started civil disobedience movement from Sevagram, Dandi, Sabarmati, and Wardha. Very easy question. The answer is Sabarmati. Sabarmati to Dandi, right? So याद रखना है, confuse नहीं होना है. From Sabarmati Ashram to Dandi. Okay, so it's a good question. Next question is, the first venture of Gandhi in all India politics was the non-cooperation, Rowlatt Satyagrah, Champaran movement, and Dandi March. Pause the video and try to answer the question. We have already discussed it. The first venture of Gandhi in all India politics, remember that is all India politics. So क्या होगा? Champaran was a local one, and Rowlatt Satyagrah was the first all India politics. ठीक? Then after returning from South Africa, Gandhi launched the first successful satyagrah. 2000 में क्वेश्चन है, कहाँ पे था? चौरी चौरा, दांडी, चंपारण, बोरदोली. Again, pause and try to answer the question. It's a very straightforward question. The first successful satyagraha was in the Champaran, Champaran, Ahmedabad, and the Kheda. Then next question, which of the following began with Dandi March? Similar question, but previous many questions have been asked. That is why I've kept it one place. Which of the following have begun with Dandi March? क्या होगा? Home rule loop, non-cooperation, civil disobedience, quit India. Obviously, we have read it today, so answer will be the civil disobedience movement. Next question is 2004. Consider the following events during the Indian freedom struggle: Chauri Chaura outrage, Morley Minto reform, Dandi March, Montague Chelmsford reform. We have to arrange these events in the chronological order. Chauri Chaura, Morley Minto, Minto Morley, Dandi March, and the Montague Chelmsford. Pause the video and try to answer the question. Now, Chauri Chaura outrage happened 4th of February 1922. Then Morley Minto reform 1909. Dandi March happened from the March to April 1930. And Montague Chelmsford reform, that is in 1919. So answer will be chronologically, so 2, then 4, then 2, first is yes, 2, then 4, then 1, and then 3. 2 4 1 3. 2 4 1 3 will be the answer. Tick. Next question is match list 1 with the list 2 with the correct answer by using the following code. Parliamentary reforms, Simon Commission, Chauri Chora Dandi, country agitation, withdrawal of the movement, communal electorates, communal outbreaks, illegal manufacture of the salt. चलो, it is easy question. Dandi सबसे पहले, fourth का E, then these two options are eliminated. Then Chauri Chora was withdrawal of a movement, तो third का B. This one is the answer. So correct answer is. So parliamentary reform is electoral, communal electorates, first ka C, and Simon Commission is all country-wide agitation, that is second ka A. Straightforward question, right? Next question is 2005 question. At the first roundtable conference, ये question we have not discussed. This point we have not discussed. Dr. Ambedkar demanded the separate electorate for the depressed class. In the Pune Act, special provision for the representation of depressed act in the local body civil service were made. In the National Congress did not take part in the third roundtable conference. Yes, the third statement is right. That third Revolt conference, Indian National Congress did not participate in the third roundtable conference. It participated only and only in the second roundtable conference, second RTC. We'll discuss it in the next session. So Congress participated only and only in the second RTC. In the first RTC, yes, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar demanded the separate electorate. That's the right statement. In Pune Act, we'll see. In the Pune Pact, when it was signed, so provision for the depressed class in the local body and civil services, no, this was not made for them. So answer is 1 and 3. It's a good question. The Pune Pact, which was signed between the British government and the Mahatma Gandhi in 1932, provided for, ये भी हम देखेंगे वैसे नेक्स्ट सेशन में, इट प्रोवाइडेड फॉर जॉइंट इलेक्टोरेट विद रिजर्वेशन फॉर द हरिजन्स. थोड़ा अर्ली हो गया, सॉरी. ड्यूरिंग द इंडियन फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल, खुदाई खिदमतगार, नो आल्सो नोन एज द रेड शर्ट्स, कॉल्ड फॉर, क्या है इसमें, it was a Pathan regional nationalist unity and struggle against the colonialism. We have discussed that they were there in the NWFP region. So these are the regions of the Pathan, Peshawar being the capital. So it was a Pathan regional nationalist unity and the struggle against the colonialism. Khudai Khidmatgar, Red Shirts, Badshah Khan, and Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan. Radical wing of the Congress party with the Jawaharlal Nehru as its main leader founded the independence of the India League in opposition to Gandhi-Irwin Pact, Home Rule Movement, Nehru Report, and Montfort Reform. So radical wing of the Congress with Jawaharlal Nehru as its main leader founded the independence of India League in opposition to क्या होगा आंसर? Nehru Report, है ना? Nehru Report में we have seen that these people have formed this new thing. Under whose presidency was the Lahore session of the Indian National Congress held in the 1929, wherein the resolution was adopted to gain the complete independence from the Britain? क्या आंसर है इसका? बहुत इजी है, जवाहरलाल नेहरू. So I think the last question, with reference to the period of India freedom struggle, which of the following were recommended by the Nehru Report? Which of the following are recommended by the Nehru Report? Complete independence for India, joint electorate for reservation of seats for minorities, provision of the fundamental rights of the people in the constitution. It's a very straightforward question. You know, they did not ask for the complete independence. The first statement is wrong. Second, third will be right. They'd asked for the dominion status, and that was the main problem. Question in 2011. Next question. Under whose presidency was the Lahore session of the, ये तो ठीक है, Jawaharlal Nehru. We have seen this question. So with this, we finish today's session. In today's session, very quickly, we talked about the journey that is towards the Purn Swaraj, and we reached till Purn Swaraja from the Simon Commission, Nehru Report, Jinnah 14 point, then Calcutta session where they endorsed the Purn Swaraj, then Delhi Manifesto rejected, then Gandhi's SDM launched, Gandhi's 11 demands again rejected, then CDM launched, then Irwin said, okay, release everyone, and he talked about India and Gandhi Irwin, that is Delhi Pact happened. And now the Congress, currently the situation is that the Congress has decided to put down the CDM and to endorse the Gandhi Irwin Pact and participate in the RTC. Which RTC? Roundtable Conference. Which roundtable conference? That is the second roundtable conference. They had nothing to do with the first roundtable conference. In fact, when the first roundtable conference was going on, they were there in the, they were doing this Lahore resolution and everything. So with this, we finish today's session. We'll talk about the second part of the session, so as to say second part of the session, or the session number 14, the next session, where we'll talk about the proceedings after that. Okay, see you all in the next session. Bye bye, thank you.